Guys, Greg here. Quick little story about Sonny Rollins and this record I got in the mail yesterday. I'm going to tell you about it. This is not the full review. This is just a little anecdote. And if I tagged you in this in the comments, that's because you're probably mentioned in this video. I mentioned about a dozen people. I'm going to put on track one for you while we talk here. Hold on. Recorded in Stockholm, 1959. Anyway. Got this record in the mail yesterday. Total surprise. I knew Zev Feldman was coming out with a Sonny Rollins for Record Store Day. I did not realize it was a massive 4-disc box set. So thank you very much for sending it. And we'll do a review on it at another time, and we'll probably interview Zev and maybe some other people. But there's just a funny little story behind here. It's not that big of a deal. So when I get the record, I take a photo of it and I send a text, Zev, thank you so much for sending it, blah, blah, blah. He and I were supposed to do an interview yesterday or 2 days ago. We're going to reschedule that and do that in the next day or week or so. He has like 10 releases coming out on Record Store Day. Anyway, I took that photo and I also texted it to this guy named Eric Wyatt. Eric Wyatt is known as a fantastic sax player based on the East Coast, but also the godson of Sonny Rollins. His father, Charles Wyatt, was a good friend, collaborator with Sonny, and used to play on the bridge together. The bridge, you know, the bridge. Not the bridge in the song. The bridge, New York. His dad used to play with Sonny, and then he died prematurely, and Eric and Sonny have this long relationship. So anyway, because Eric is the one who introduced me to Zev, as kind of a recognition of thank you for introducing us, I sent a text of this photo to Eric and said, hey, Zev just sent me this, really cool. And he responds back, oh man, I wish you would have told me 10 minutes ago. I would have mentioned it to him because I was on the phone with him. And I said, oh, that's okay. I'll mention it to him next time I talk. We're going to do an interview, and we'll be talking in the next few days. And I talked to him last week, and I'm sure I'll talk to him next week. He's like, wait a minute, call me. We're texting back and forth. He's like, wait a minute, you got to call me because this makes no sense. So I get on the phone with him. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be doing an interview with him, and I'll mention it to him that you and I talked about the record. He goes, wait a minute, I just got off the phone with Sonny. You talked to Sonny? I said, no, I didn't talk to Sonny Rollins. I talked to Zev Feldman. It was funny because the picture was Sonny Rollins, but the text message was Zev. So communication error. That happens when you use pronouns instead of proper nouns. Him, her. Who are you talking about? I was talking about Zev. So that was funny. I talked on the phone to Eric for about a half hour. He had just gotten off the phone with Sonny Rollins, and Sonny is now 93, going on 94, I think. Health is not great, but it's good for somebody. It's very good for somebody in their 90s. And Eric was telling me about their conversations. Sonny is mentally as sharp as a tack, but he doesn't play sax anymore. He doesn't have the lung capacity that he used to have. So anyway, Eric and I talked for a half hour about all kinds of things. He's got upcoming projects, and Sonny's very much aware of the news and politics and what's going on in the world, and etc., etc. Oh, so we're playing side one we're playing side one of this record. This version of St. Thomas, I think, is superior. Okay, it's in some ways it's freer than the original LP version, which everybody knows. But anyway, back to my conversation with Eric. Sorry, I'm all caffeinated here. So my relationship with Eric and Zev all stem back to when Sonny turned 90. I decided that on my YouTube channel I would do this tribute to Sonny, and not just, hey, happy birthday, Sonny, but I wanted to do a larger, more ambitious project that was my way of recognizing the 90th birthday of the greatest living jazz legend, Sonny Rollins, turning 90. So I reached out to everyone I could think of that was even tangentially related to Sonny, or who I thought would be a good interviewee. And somehow I got hooked up with Eric Wyatt, and he was very generous with his time and did a wonderful interview with me. And he and I have talked over the years, and especially when something involving Sonny or Zev shows up. So Eric also introduced me to Zev Feldman, and at that time, Zev was in the process of putting out, I guess, his first Sonny Rollins record, which I have a copy of here. Sonny Rollins in Holland, 1967, 3-disc set, massive as always. So as a way to tie in the promotion of that record and what I was doing for Sonny's birthday, Zev and I did an interview, and we've been doing interviews ever since. And I kind of take credit, I think I was the first YouTube person that Zev did an interview with, I think, because he was a little hesitant at first. I had to kind of cajole him a little bit, but since then, he's completely blown up, as you know. He's in the New York Times and NPR and the New Yorker and, you know, LA Times, you name it. You know, he's been nominated for a zillion awards, Grammys, Best Album of the Years from Jazz Is Magazine, all that stuff. So massive. And he's doing 10 records for this Record Store Day, and he and I will talk about that later. Back to Sonny Rollins. I wanted to just acknowledge the other people that I interviewed for that project, if we can get this done quickly enough. I got a list here. The biggest musician I interviewed was Tim Byrne, the amazing New York sort of free jazz avant-garde sax player, plays with everybody. So Tim was so nice to sit down and do an interview with me about a lot of things, but he was influenced and interested in Sonny Rollins. And I think Tim is the guy who first came up with the idea of renaming the bridge as the Sonny Rollins Bridge. It was kind of just an offhanded comment, but that thing got some traction. And then I interviewed the guy who's in charge of the Sonny Rollins Bridge project, Jeff Catalbiano. I hope that's the right way to pronounce his Italian last name. Jeff with a C, Sonny Rollins Bridge Project. He's got a website. He's been working with the bureaucrats in New York to try to get the bridge renamed. Still working on it, I think. He's got petitions. Anyway, I'm going to tag all these people in the video, and so you can click on them and check out their stuff. Sonny's talking. Hold on. Hold on. This is an excellent sounding record, by the way. Anyway, the review is coming later. Back to the interviews. So I also interviewed after the fact. The book didn't come out in time. Aidan Levy is a young scholar who wrote this massive biography of Sonny. It's like 700 pages. So I interviewed him later, and he consulted or worked with Zev on some of these projects, liner notes and so forth. So check out Aidan Levy. And John Abbott, not a music guy. John Abbott is Sonny Rollins' favorite photographer. And John Abbott is major, big time. He's interviewed every president, every CEO. Did I say interviewed? Photographed. He's photographed all these people. But on his website, there's a whole special section for Sonny Rollins, because they have like this long-lasting relationship. So check out John Abbott's stuff, photographer. Tim Volbrecht is a German sax player. He's also an ECM artist. Last I checked, he had at least one record out on ECM. Really innovative, interesting saxophone player. He was nice enough to sit down with me. And then I wanted to get the young and the new. You know, not just everybody said, oh yeah, I knew Sonny 40 years ago. What about somebody who's starting their career? So this young man, Josh Childress, up-and-coming saxophone player. He was probably like, I don't know, 18 or 19 when I first heard him play. He walks into an open mic jazz jam night thing, and he says, do you guys know Mac the Knife? And they're like, Mac the Knife? Bobby Darin's song? That's not a standard for me. No, he meant Moratot, the Sonny Rollins, which is a classic. So he is just a freaking amazing saxophone player, and wishing him well. So interviewed him, and he played a little Happy Birthday Sonny thing that's on the interview. I should take all these interviews and edit them down to something that's more concise, and maybe show that to Sonny someday. So Josh, and then a YouTuber named Chris from Positively Progressing is a saxophone learning channel that's very popular. And who am I missing on here? I have the word Andrew. Who's Andrew? There's no Andrew. Oh, I also reached out to people who didn't want to be interviewed or didn't even respond to my message. You know, Jeff Garland, Pete Chrisley, people I could find on Instagram. Probably a half dozen more that I can't even remember. But just wanted to pass along that funny story about how Eric thought I was talking to Sonny Rollins on the phone, and I think I mentioned I would not have the audacity to bother the maestro himself with my little silly channel. But Eric talks to him on a regular basis, and wish him well. Thank you, Eric. And Zev will talk about this record and more records soon. Let's go out with a little more volume on the record. The speakers are way over there, so I don't know how this sounds. And then, what are we listening to? We're on song number 2 still. There Will Never Be Another You. And this record has Pete LaRocca on it, amazing drummer. Henry Grimes on bass, Joe Harris and Kenny Clark on drums. And this was recorded over, let's see, March, all within a 5 or 6 day period in March of 1959. Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, Holland, France. So 1959 was the year, the summer of 1959 is the year that Sonny started his hiatus, his 2.5-year break from music. But after this record was made, he made 2 of his biggest, most awesome records of all, which was Live at the Village Vanguard, which is coming out on a Blue Note special edition right now, and Freedom Suite. And this tour is kind of where he adopted the trio format, which became a real thing for him in later records. Anyway, this is not the review of the record. This is just a thank you to a bunch of people. Me rambling on for 12 minutes. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to spin your jazz records. And have a great day. Bye-bye.